Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name remains Tinna Kash. If you're joining this channel for the first time, welcome. This is a channel where I specifically share information about immigrating to Canada and every other pathway for lovers of Canada, be it studies, visiting visa, or whatever you intend to come to Canada to come and do. Here's the channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching. You are all the ones that motivates me to keep coming here to give you more information as soon as they're dropping. Thank you so much. And please do not forget to like, to share, click the notification button. This will actually encourage me to do more. And yeah, this also notifies me that you're finding my content very valuable and I'm being pushed to throw out more content out there. Thank you so much. So without taking much of our time, let's get started. Welcome back everyone. And so today I would like to have this conversation around permanent resident, around express entry, and to encourage everybody to get into the pool. Yes, and if you ever have Canada as your plan, ever think of immigrating to Canada, I think now is the time for you to get into the pool. There's never a better time to get into the pool than now. Now let's discuss. If you have been following the trend about permanent resident application recently, everything seems not attainable for an ordinary person. You almost say, if you are able to get an invitation to apply for Canada permanent resident, that means you must be doing something extra. But guess what? You are actually doing something extra. The system has totally changed. You have to be following the trend for you to understand what is happening currently in the system. And this is because the scores are above the roof. They're up high there, almost unattainable for anyone to get an invitation without something spectacular. And this is not to say that Canada are closing their gates, because there's been speculation. Is Canada closing their gates? Are they trying to close the whole permanent resident process? It's almost looking towards that, but no, this is not the case. We all understand that for permanent residents of Canada, yes, the government have always been focused on skilled immigration. And in the focusing on skilled immigration, it simply means that they've identified the gaps in their society and they are trying to meet or fill these gaps. Recently, the federal skilled worker, which is the express entry as well, immigration pathway to come to Canada, have changed focus. This is because the focus is now in the health sector, in the agricultural sector, in the transportation sector, the technology, that's the tech sector, and now the French. They're trying to encourage French speakers more to come into Canada. Most of the draws being done is focusing more on the health sector and on the health pathway. And this is the reason why I decided to share this video with us, so we can understand what is the focus of the Canadian government when it comes to permanent resident, and how prepared are we to align our applications towards getting at least an invitation to apply. I usually tell people, as soon as you get an invitation to apply for permanent resident to Canada, just see yourself as one, because the application is almost guaranteed if you do not misrepresent in your application and you provide every information that is required of you to provide. It goes in stages and you're able to track your application progress and know that within this specific period, you're going to be approved. And as soon as you're approved, hey, book your ticket and Canada. Yes. Another thing I would like to discuss with us today is most of us have seen that the scores is just over the roof and it's almost not attainable for them. And they've decided to shrug off Canada application processes, maybe look towards another country and a whole lot of things around that. This is not to discourage us that Canada is not attainable. I still believe strongly that it is attainable, but it is important that you are prepared for it and not giving up. I'm going to share my story very soon. And my story to becoming a permanent resident was not a walk in the park. I didn't just wake up one day and see myself in Canada as a permanent resident. My brother and sister. I saw Shege, Baza. I saw Offa and Ibadan. But I had the tenacity. I was determined to come to Canada. I literally knew from the beginning, from the moment I decided to pursue Canada immigration process, I knew that my first choice, my second choice, my third choice, my 10th choice, my 100th choice was Canada. So it was Canada or I remain in my country. Yes, because it's perfectly aligned with my family goals or my family vision. So I knew that this was the only place I wanted to come. Were the sky up the roof then? Yeah. And I actually did everything to ensure I was able to also meet the eligibility requirements. And it is also important that to begin, irrespective of your age, as long as you're able to do the eligibility test, that's the 67-point test, and you meet the 67 points, that means you're eligible to create a profile. Please do not wait before creating your profile, because there's just something funny about Canada. You never can know when they will do what I call bonanza. They can just wake up today. You know, the scores has been around 540 something. Canada can wake up tomorrow and decide to use broom to sweep the pool and maybe do a draw within 460, and you just see thousands of people were invited. Sorry to those who might not be in the pool at that moment. So that's why it is important to be in the pool. So what are the checklists to even be in the pool? And what does it even mean to be in the pool? To be in the pool means that you created an express entry profile, which I have already done a video, a step-by-step video on how to create your profile. And you're able to successfully submit your profile. So the profile, it's more like you're now in a pool system, whereby anytime there's a draw, to invite people to apply for permanent resident, you also get the invitation if you're within the score where the invitation was sent. So in this case, what are the eligibility requirements to even create an express entry profile? 1, you must have your test of English language evaluation or your test of French language evaluation done. So that means, have you done your IELTS, or there's also CELPIP, or have you done your TEF or your TCF? So either of these language requirements, you must have written this exam. Now, it is not enough that you've written this exam. There's also a required benchmark, or there's also a required score that you need to have for you to be eligible to create a profile. And what is the score? You need to have minimum of 6 in each of the module. We have 4 modules in these exams. We have the listening part of the exam, we have the speaking part of the exam, we have the writing part of the exam, and we also have the reading part of the exam. Now, whilst it is important for you to have better scores in this exam, because the more scores you have, the better your points will be to give you an advantage to be able to get an invitation to apply. However, for you to even be able to create a profile, you need to have a minimum of 6 in each of the module. I'm trying to emphasize this, that it has to be in each of the module. This is because some come to me and like, oh, I have an overall band score of 6. And when I ask you, what are the scores you have in each of the module, then you see some of them have like a 5 in one aspect of the module, which means you are not able to create a profile. Should you create a profile with that? Of course, immediately you're submitting, you just get that notification, your profile will go ineligible almost immediately. So, whilst you're trying to improve your scores, at least ensure that you're able to get the minimum required score to be able to create a profile. Also, you need to have your evaluation done. Yes, we have various bodies, like about 5 bodies in which you can evaluate your credentials. And the essence of this is for it to give you equivalency to a Canadian degree. So have your evaluation done, And once you're done with your evaluation, you're given your report number. So those information is what you will impute when you're about to create your express entry profile. Once you have this, of course, definitely you have minimum of 1 year work experience, which you can claim because there's also point associated with your work experience. But most importantly, if you have your test of English language or test of French language exam done with a minimal requirement, and you also have your evaluation done, you are able to create your profile. And I always encourage people, as soon as you have this checklist completed, please get into the express entry pool. This is because there are times that Canada decide to invite people to apply for permanent residence, and they have what they call cutoff. That means what they do by cutoff is, I'm assuming hypothetically that they're inviting everybody that are on 460 upward. And let's say you are on 460 and there are multiple people on 460. Hence, they introduce what they call cutoff. So meaning the time in which you created your express entry profile determine if you're going to get the invitation. So this is a way to sieve out if there are a lot of people on that same point and they cannot invite everybody with the same point. They might decide that the cutoff should be those that created their pool January 2023, for instance. No, let me not use because your profile expire every 1 year. Let us say those that created their profile June 2023. You are more likely to get the invitation because you have a longer wait in the poll than those that just created their profile, let's say January this year. Even if both of you are on the same point, they will not get an invitation. If there's a cutoff on that point, they wouldn't get an invitation, whilst you will get. So this is why it is important to be in the pool. And being in the pool also gives you that leverage. It gives you the opportunity for other provincial nomination programs that might require your technical skills or your skill. They're able to invite you from the pool. Now let's give it to Ontario. Ontario and Alberta, they've been doing so wonderful well. They pick people directly from the pool. They go into the pool. They also have their requirement as well. So if you also fall within this specific sector in which they are also looking for people, they are able to invite you to apply for permanent residence. Now, do we know the difference if you're coming in as a provincial nomination person or you're coming in through the federal skilled worker? Yes, I know a lot of us get confused, and I get that questions a lot from people. If you're coming into Canada as a provincial nomination person, that means you're actually tied down to the province. And this is because the province invited you to apply for permanent residence, and they gave you that platform to come into Canada. Whilst the federal will still eventually process your application, but you're coming into the provincial nomination program. Hence, it is important that you give back to the province that invited you. Or for instance, personally, I came into the provincial nomination program. I came in through my lovely and dearest Ontario. You can imagine. Ontario invited me to apply for permanent residence, and I applied to Ontario. And let's say I got into Canada, I thought to myself, oh, I don't even like Ontario because my friends and family, they're in Alberta, and I decided to move to Alberta or Manitoba. I'm not giving back to the province that actually invited me. And this has a negative impact on you because when you want to apply for your citizenship, they're coming for you. Except you can prove to them why you left the province. And this will be based on the fact that you were unable to secure a job in your field in that province. It goes beyond that. But I wouldn't want to be the test, the test case to see why I left the province that invited me. Besides, this is the sweetest province to stay. That's just a bit deviation, just to take us back on track. This video is just here to encourage us that it is important to be in the pool, irrespective of what the point is stating right now. Personally, I started my permanent residence process in 2018. Yeah. And I didn't get into Canada until 2022. I did my first test of English language in 2018, I think June. I did my evaluation in January 2018. Everything came out. Okay, my BSc evaluation came out. Then my best school, my master's, didn't come out. It was a tug of war to get my master's transcript sent to us and to be able to evaluate it. my first IEL expired. I had to write another one. And I was a primary applicant. As at when I would write another one, there was COVID in between. And we all know, if you have been following this trend, during COVID, everything was just at a standstill. Almost nothing was happening. But when the draw system eventually came back on, the score was beyond me. It was not possible. As at then, the score was material. Scores were on 470 something, 480 something. It wasn't attainable even for me. I was celebrating birthdays and I was losing 5 points each time. And eventually I had to go and start learning French. Yes, I had to learn French. I learned French for over a year. I'm supposed to be parlaying very well. I learned French for over a year just to boost my scores. Thankfully, Ontario, I will never forget this day. I was in the meeting and I just got this notification like there was an update on my profile. My profile expired, I think, about 3 times. Yeah. And I got an update on my profile. And when I opened it, like, Ontario would like to invite me to apply for permanent resident if I am interested. Me, interested. Are you giving me a choice? I jumped at that opportunity. That was like the happiest day for me. That was in 2021. Yeah. It was in 2021. So it was one of my happiest days. And everything for me was just very seamless. It was just easy. I got my approval. And everything was just a walk in the park from there on. It was a seamless process for me. But this is what I'm trying to emphasize here is if I had given up, I might not have been in Canada here because this is what I actually desired. And this is what I wanted at some points. I knew I never had plans of ever living anywhere outside my home country. But at that point when things begin to look like, oh, Tinna, you need to make this decision. And we eventually decided as a family to make a decision to immigrate to Canada. It became one of the toughest decisions to make because it wasn't even attainable. And we all know how it can be if your heart, your mind, everything is in one place and it was just making it so difficult to achieve. But I never backed down. Like, trust me, never for once. I was very optimistic of the process. Like, I literally, for those that knows me, I can wake up today and pick form to medical school. I don't think anything is so difficult for me to achieve. So I use myself as an example to tell the story. Like, if I literally continued this, there's no stopping me. I recall even when I was learning French, then I was pregnant with my twin. I gave birth to my twin. Like 3 weeks later, I resumed class back. And that was when my profile was expiring again. That was in 2020. I gave birth to my twins in 2020. I resumed my French class back. I was attending my French lesson because I was attending physical class. Even while I was pregnant with the twin, I was attending. I never backed down. I was very serious in class because I just felt, I tell myself then that I was the mailing of my family. The fate of my family depend on me. I was a primary applicant. So if as I then I was a primary applicant and because of age I've lost so many points. I wasn't even old. I'm not even old even till now. You can imagine if my husband wanted to be the primary applicant, how tough it would have been. So I knew that my family depended on me to ensure that I'm able to get this. So I never backed down. I kept on with the faith. I was doing everything right. And I was supporting everyone I needed to support. And they were all getting invitation. They had the advantage on their side. They had maybe sibling points and a whole lot of things like that. One of the things you can also look at is for provincial nomination program, especially those provinces that gives you invitation if you have family member. That's Manitoba. God, I love that province for that. So if you have any distant relative or any relative, so to speak, you can actually take advantage of them. Apply to Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program and you're able to get their provincial nomination invitation. As soon as you're approved, you're getting a whooping 600 points added to just low point you have in the federal score. And this will guarantee you a place in the next round of invitation. So without talking so much, I said this video was going to be for 10 minutes, but right now I'm over how many minutes? So I need to round it up here. But then this is me trying to encourage us that this is the time to get into the pool. It's never too late for you to get into the pool, and it's never too late for you to continue to persevere to ensure that you're able to achieve your dreams. If relocating to Canada is your dream, it's doable, it's achievable. Ignore the high scores, Canada is still going to come down to the low score. Improve your scores. Should you need to learn French, please do. One thing I tell people is in May, if you do not do anything to improve your scores, the month will go by and you will still not have done anything. So why wait? Why not try to understand the process and get everything ready? And the good thing about this process is, should you get the invitation today, you're very certain that worst case scenario, you're saying in 6 months time, your application will be approved and you're on your way to your dreamland. So thank you so much for watching this far. I encourage every one of us to continue to push, to continue to persevere, and you're going to get this dream come to pass. Like if you're in Canada, you're like, finally, I deserve this. I tell myself, like I pat myself like, you did well, you tried. Please, you can also do the same. And this is why I decided to throw out more content out there regarding the Canada immigration process, to encourage people, to let them know that it is something doable. It doesn't matter how long it takes, it's going to still happen. Yeah, you can imagine if I started mine in 2018, I didn't get invitation until 2021. That was the first time I got an invitation. And I eventually got approval in 2022 and I landed in 2022. So if I had given up, I wouldn't have been in Canada and I wouldn't have been able to align my vision, my goals to what I actually foresee, for what I actually planned it to be. I'm very happy right now. I tell people that, yeah, I'm happy, I'm doing great. And this is because I was able to not give up. I was able to continue to pursue whatever vision and dream I had about coming to Canada. And yes, you can also do it. Yes, you can also do it. Do not give up. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It is very important that you continue to do it, work towards achieving this rather than just giving up and saying, no, this is not achievable. It is. Thank you so much for watching. Do have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.